Can people really change? Well, they're going to need to, right? If they want to save money on their TV subscriptions, they got to get rid of cable and satellite and sign up for the streaming services, right? Well, the answer is actually a little more complicated than you might think, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So whether you are a big proponent of streaming and cutting the cord and all that stuff, or if you are holding on to that cable subscription for dear life, either way, you're going to want to watch this video. I've got some numbers that might surprise you, so let's dive in. Now, first things first, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon down below so you're notified every Wednesday and Friday when we're back with another video just like this. But for today's video, I'm actually going to request that you share this, because whether you are a young person who's been trying to convince your parents or grandparents to switch to streaming, or if you are a parent or grandparent who's been trying to convince your young person to stop bugging you about switching to streaming, you're going to find some good info either way. This is going to be an interesting one. I bring all this up because I had an experience just a couple weeks ago with my parents where I found out that they were paying Xfinity for TV and internet $270 a month, which blew my mind. I thought it was absolutely insane. And so I said, you got to switch to streaming. And they said no. And so we called Xfinity and got their bill lowered a little, but frankly, not a lot. And so after that, I tried one more time. I said, look, you're going to save so much money if you just switch to streaming. And they looked at me and said, it's not worth it. And you know what? They convinced me that they were right. But that's what we're going to be talking about today, is whether it's worth it to switch from cable or satellite over to streaming and what you're going to get from both of those. We're going to be talking not just about price, but also about priorities. So I hope you'll stick around for this. But first things first, let's go talk about the prices. Now, it turns out it's actually really difficult to compare apples to apples when we're talking about traditional TV service versus streaming TV service, but here's what I was able to come up with. I took the top 3 nationwide traditional providers, 2 cable, 1 satellite, and the top 3 streaming providers. Now, I took their base package, and if they offer one, kind of a mid-tier package as well, to kind of look at that cost jump there. You can see down here with the streaming providers, Hulu and YouTube only have one package. They keep it pretty simple that way. Now, I looked at it over the course of 2 years, but I took their base advertised cost. I am not adding in anything like HD fees, equipment fees, installation fees, nothing like that. Base advertised cost. And here's what I came up with. Over the course of 2 years, with almost no exceptions, your traditional TV providers are going to be much, much more expensive than your streaming providers. You can see that here. The most expensive streaming provider is going to be YouTube TV over the course of those 2 years. Then I looked at channel count, and you can see pretty easily that the channels that you're getting on the traditional providers far outstrip, at least in number, far outstrip what you are getting with your streaming TV providers. And so if we look at cost per channel, if that's how we're judging the value of what we're getting here, then we're looking at $8 to $10 per channel over the course of 2 years for your traditional providers. And on the streaming ones, it jumps high really fast, up to $18 a month for Hulu Live, which is a monstrous cost compared to what you're getting up here for the streaming TV providers. But wait a minute, you ask, what about all the other stuff like installation fees and DVR fees and HD fees and all the other, bundling internet and TV together? What about those variables? Well, you're absolutely right. Those are important too, but they simply don't fit. Every time I tried to add one, it kind of blew up my chart and I couldn't figure out a good way to compare apples to apples other than base price, minimum cost over 2 years. So every time you add a variable, what you're doing is adding your priorities. So you just got to know what your priorities are and then start your research from there on what's going to be most helpful to you. So it might be that your absolute number one priority is to have the lowest monthly cost possible. If that is your priority, then streaming is undoubtedly going to be better than almost any traditional TV service out there. But maybe you're really concerned about getting all the channels you can possibly get. I never want to run into a situation where I want that channel and I don't have it. In that case, cable and satellite are going to be much better bets than most streaming services. Contracts are a big thing. When it comes to contracts, there are no contracts on any streaming service that I'm aware of. There are contracts on traditional TV services. With cable, you can usually opt out of a contract, but you're going to pay an extra $10 a month. You can see how messy this all gets. So ultimately, your number one priority might be, I want to have as simple a bill as possible. Well, as you can see with YouTube TV and Hulu Live, those are about as simple as it gets. They just say pay this much a month and you get this many channels, end of story. And what about your personal style of watching TV? If you're somebody who loves to have TV on in the background all the time, well, if you're doing that with streaming, you're actually going to run into data cap problems potentially with your internet provider. But if you say you bundle with Xfinity and you get cable TV along with your internet, well, that cable TV isn't counting toward your internet consumption, and so you're not going to run into any data caps. Pretty convenient. So yeah, you can see that ultimately it's just a question of priorities. What is your top priority? So to finish the story about my parents, this is really what it's all about, is priorities. So I called Xfinity with them, and the guy on the line says, all right, so you got this $270 package. I can get you one that's similar for $120. And I said, sold. And he says, okay, let me crunch some numbers real quick. And he comes back and he says, all right, that'll be $220 a month. And I said, what? You just said it was $120. What gives? And he says, well, you know, HD fees and DVR and equipment fees. Essentially, my parents wanted to have TV on around the house all day, and they wanted it available in 5 different rooms at any time, and they wanted their DVR. So their style of TV watching required that they spend at least $220, and they were willing to pay it. So the question is whether you are willing to pay that. So I want to get your opinion in the comments below. Give me your best case for why somebody should either stick with cable and satellite or switch to streaming services. Give it your best shot. And on your way down there, give this video a like if you liked it, and give it a subscribe if you loved it. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you on the next review.